All right, today we're jumping headfirst into the fascinating and, let's be honest, pretty complex world of marketing in Turkey. We're going to use a guide from some of the top experts in the field to really understand what makes this market tick, from its ancient roots all the way to its super dynamic digital future. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get the lay of the land, what makes the landscape so unique. Then, we'll take a step back and trace marketing's journey from old-school bazaars to the present day. After that, we'll zoom in on the all-important relationship between consumers and brands, see what modern marketing actually looks like on the ground, and wrap up by unpacking a really cool paradox that kind of defines the whole market.
Now, our guide for this whole explainer is the book Marketing Management in Turkey. And what's great is that it's packed with insights from people who are actually there, on the ground, giving us a true insider's view. So let's get started with what makes this market so different.
Okay, so the experts behind our guide make one thing crystal clear. You simply can't understand marketing in Turkey today if you don't get where it came from and the core principles that still shape it. You gotta know the past to get the present.
And man, the market's journey is a story in itself. I mean, think about it. It starts in these ancient traditional bazaars, then moves through the whole era of modern retail and giant shopping malls, and finally lands right where we are now, in this incredibly complex digital world. This timeline just shows you how massive that transformation really is.
But you know, history is only half the picture. The guide points to 4 really modern pillars holding everything up. You've got a strong sense of business ethics, a growing focus on sustainability and social responsibility, and, maybe the most important one, a deep reliance on market research to figure out what's actually going on.
With that foundation set, we can finally get to the heart of it all, that push and pull relationship between Turkish consumers and all the brands trying to get their attention. And believe me, this is where things get really interesting.
You know, a chapter title from our source pretty much says it all. The key to success here isn't just about looking at spreadsheets and demographics. No, it's about understanding this incredibly complex mix of culture, society, and economics that makes the Turkish consumer totally unique. And this brings us to a core dynamic. See, on one side, you have the Turkish consumer, who's shaped by this one-of-a-kind environment. And on the other side, you've got the brands. For them to succeed, they can't just sell a product. They absolutely have to build genuine trust, and they have to do it in a super competitive market.
So, how do brands actually do it? How do they connect with consumers in this day and age? Let's shift gears from the theory to the practice and look at the marketing tactics that are really working in Turkey right now.
One of the huge strategies highlighted in the guide is something called omni-channel marketing. The idea is actually pretty simple. It shouldn't matter if a customer is on their phone, browsing a website, or walking into a physical store. The experience with the brand has to feel like one single, seamless, connected conversation.
And the places where brands are having these conversations are getting so diverse. I mean, we're talking about marketing inside the massive video game industry, really clever tech partnerships, and of course the incredible power of digital word of mouth. This is way beyond old-school TV ads. This brings us to our final, and maybe my favorite section, the paradox, that sits right at the heart of the Turkish market. This is the stuff that makes it so unique and, frankly, so cool. So here it is, the core paradox. The Turkish market is this place of constant tension. You have these incredibly deep-rooted traditions living side by side with hypermodern technology and lightning-fast social change. For marketers trying to navigate that balancing act, well, that's the ultimate challenge.
And this paradox creates some really unique behaviors in the market. The experts point to the special mystique around luxury products, the boom in the sharing economy, and even a growing trend of consumer resistance. People aren't just buying things anymore. More and more, they're buying experiences.
So after this whole journey, from ancient bazaars all the way to the digital frontier, we're left with one big question. For a market that literally and figuratively bridges continents and centuries, what on earth comes next? And that, right there, is the question the experts leave us to chew on.